Hello, how are you today? Or this evening, or whenever it is? Today, I want to take a look at adverb clauses, the next kind of subordinate clause we want to take a look at. Just a reminder from last time, remember a clause is a group of words within a sentence with its own subject and verb. Okay, you recognize a clause because it has both a subject and a verb. There are two kinds of clauses. There's an independent clause, a clause which can stand alone as a complete sentence, and a subordinate clause, a clause which, although it has a subject and a verb, cannot stand alone as a complete sentence, and it needs another clause. Remember also that I told you subordinate clauses as a whole function as a single part of speech. Last time we looked at adjective clauses. Today, we want to look at clauses that function as adverbs, and of course they are called adverb clauses. Adverb clause is a subordinate clause modifying a verb, adjective, adverb, or verbal. We could throw in verbal there if we want to as well. And an adverb clause answers one of the following questions. And these are questions that adverbs answer. And because we're talking about clauses with subject and verb, we add a couple of questions that we don't add with plain old single word adverbs. Where, when, how, to what degree, under what condition, and why. That under what condition and why apply mostly to clauses. Maybe occasionally phrases, but mostly clauses. And so we'll take a look at that. You won't see that usually with a single adverb. And we'll give you some examples. Adverb clauses also always begin with subordinating conjunctions. Section 18.2 of your textbook has a list of common subordinating conjunctions. I can't tell you the page number because different editions, it appears on a different page, but it is section 18.2 on the parts of speech, which you studied last semester. Subordinating conjunctions introduce adverb clauses. Okay, here are some examples. Subordinating conjunctions that answer the question where include conjunctions like where and wherever. Subordinating conjunctions that answer the question when begin clauses that answer the question when include when, whenever, until, till, before, after, as soon as, since, while. All of those can introduce clauses that have to do with the question of time, with the question of when. Clauses that answer the question how often begin with subordinating conjunctions like as if, in order that, so that, as though. Some adverb clauses that answer the question to what degree would include subordinating conjunctions like as long as, until, till, than, so that. Adverb clause answering the question under what condition would answer such questions as if, even if, unless, lest, though, although, even though, while, now that. And adverb clauses answering the question why would include such subordinating conjunctions as since, because, so that, in order that. And if you think about it, it makes sense, you know. Why did you do that? Because I wanted to. Or so that I could get a good grade in English class, or whatever it is. This is not necessarily a complete list, but it gives you an idea of how the subordinating conjunctions fit in the whole adverb clause idea. Okay, so here are some examples. Jesus will return when the gospel has been preached to every nation. Notice we have here the adverb clause, when the gospel has been preached to every nation. The adverb clause begins with the subordinating conjunction when, modifies the verb will return. When will he return? And of course the clause answers the question when. God is the same whenever you pray. Okay, here we have an adverb clause beginning with whenever. So whenever you pray, notice, you pray, subject, verb. Whenever is the subordinating conjunction. And here the whole clause modifies the adjective same. So not real common, but once in a while adverb clauses do modify adjectives. Faster than thought travels, the angel appeared. Here we have an adverb clause beginning with than. Then thought travels, once again, thought subject, travels the verb. And in this case, it modifies the adverb faster. Okay. And it answers the question how or to what degree. Adverb clauses that begin with than or as are probably the most common adverb clauses that modify adjectives and adverbs. I just mention that when you see them. And here we have an example of an adverb clause. Hi, we had some technical difficulties. Actually, the camera ran out of batteries. So I'm just going to review a little bit. It might be a little bit of repetition. I don't know how to edit yet, but I can combine. So anyway, faster than thought travels. As I said, the adverb clause beginning with than modifies faster. So here we have it modifying an adverb. And then in this sentence, as he grabbed the whip, Jesus began turning over the tables. We see here, this is modifying the verbal turning. In this case, it's a gerund. You could make a case that it's modifying the verb began. I'm not going to quibble over that. But just kind of coming up with examples to show how adverb clauses can modify anything adverbs modify. I should point out too, most of the time adverb clauses are modifying the verb, but they can modify adjectives, adverbs, and verbals as well. Okay, here are some more examples. Since he confessed Jesus is Lord, God saved him. Okay? Since he confessed Jesus is Lord. Adverb clause. Okay? Subject, verb, subordinating conjunction, and it answers the question either when or why. The Spirit moves where he wills. Again, subordinating conjunction where. He is the subject, wills is the verb. Answers the question where. Modifies the verb. Okay, before the sun rose each day, Jesus would rise and pray. Okay, adverb clause answers the question when. Begins with subordinating conjunction before. Again, sun rose, subject, verb. Unless a man is born again. Under what condition? Answering the question, under what condition? Have the subordinating conjunction unless, subject, man, is born is the verb. Although the son wasted his fortune, his father accepted him when he returned home. Again, you could probably say under what condition, what circumstances. Subordinating conjunction, although, subject, son, verb, wasted. Okay, all examples of adverb clauses. Notice with these, most adverb clauses can come before or, oops, that should be or, not of, or after the main clause. If the clause comes before the main clause, use a comma to separate them. So notice here, there's a comma there, comma there, comma there, and a comma there, because the adverb clause comes first. A comma is not necessary if the clause comes after, because a conjunction is already there. So we don't have a comma here because we have a conjunction already separating the subordinate clause from the main clause. Notice how in most cases you could switch the order. We could say God saved him since he confessed Jesus as Lord, saying the same thing. We could, this one's a little more awkward, but we could say where he wills, the Spirit moves. Or probably what we say is where the Spirit wills, he moves. This one, Jesus would rise and pray before the sun rose every day. Same meaning, whether it comes before or after. Unless a man cannot see the kingdom of God unless he is born again. Get? Whether it comes before or after, says the same thing. The son's father accepted him, although he had wasted his fortune, something like that. Again, whether it comes before or after, it might have to change a pronoun or something, but basically the same sentence. Okay, so, but you only have to have a comma if the adverb clause comes at the beginning of the sentence. Embedded adverb clauses are rare. Now, embedded adjective clauses are normal, but embedded adverb clauses are rare, other than those beginning with than or sometimes as, like we saw, faster than a thought flies, or whatever that sentence was. There, it was embedded, and usually we see that because it's modifying an adverb or adjective. But normally they're not embedded, they just come at the beginning or end of the main clause. There is, however, one tricky thing that we sometimes see with adverb clauses. In fact, I even put it in red to emphasize this, and that is the elliptical adverb clause. Now, in grammar, when we say something's elliptical, we're not talking about its shape. That's math and physics, okay, like elliptical orbits. But elliptical, when we talk in grammar, comes from ellipsis. Do you remember, do you know what an ellipsis is? Give you 20 seconds or so to think about that. An ellipsis is 3 periods indicating that words have been left out. So in grammar, elliptical means words are missing. Adverb clauses used in comparisons beginning with than or as often have words left out. Those are known as elliptical adverb clauses. I should have put some kind of emphasis on that. Elliptical adverb clauses. So, here's an example from the Bible, Psalm 61. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Notice this actually has 2 adverb clauses. It begins with an adverb clause, when my heart is overwhelmed, but then it has than I. Than I is an adverb clause. It's an elliptical clause. It does not have a verb, but it begins with a subordinating conjunction, and the verb is missing. Technically, we should say, lead me to the rock that is higher than I am. Okay, but a lot of times in speech, even in good grammatical speech, we will drop the verb. So we will say than I rather than I am. Rather than than I am. Yeah. Okay. Oops. I think I maybe had that one out of order. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, O Lord, there is no one as great as you. That as you is an elliptical adverb clause. We would normally say, there is no one as great as you are. In this case, like the first one, the verb is missing. Peter worried more about himself than his mission. What's missing here? Both the subject and the verb. Peter worried more about himself than he worried about his mission. So sometimes with than or as, there can be several words left out. The people respected Jesus more than the scribes. Okay? The people respected Jesus more than they respected the scribes. Once again, subject and verb are missing. Now, do you notice something tricky about this last one? There really are, if you think about it, two ways you could interpret it. If we did not know the context, we could say that it means the people respected Jesus more than the scribes respected Jesus. You know, when it just says the people respected Jesus more than the scribes, what are we referring to? Sometimes you don't really want to have an elliptical clause because it can be uncertain. You know, we might say this if, you know, we understood the Bible told us Jesus, you know, the people said, oh, this guy doesn't speak to us the way the scribes do. You know, he's much more interesting, whatever it says. So, you know, we understand that it's talking about they respect him more than they respect the scribes. But if you didn't know the context, you might say that it's talking about comparing the way the people respected Jesus as opposed to the way the scribes respected Jesus. So, you know, how do you know which one it is? Sometimes it's context. Sometimes you want to not make the clause elliptical so your reader or your hearer understands what you're talking about. And so, and this can be a real problem if there's a pronoun involved and you don't use the correct pronoun. Both of these sentences are grammatically correct, but they mean two different things. He likes me more than her. He likes me more than she. Both are grammatically correct. Do you see the difference? I'm going to give you 20 seconds or so, whatever, to contemplate, meditate on these two sentences with these two elliptical adverb clauses. See if you can tell the difference. And the difference is the pronoun. Okay, the first one, of course, means he likes me more than he likes her. Her is objective, so it's going to be direct object or object of preposition, something like that. So it parallels me. He likes me more than he likes her. Okay, it's not there, right? Or, but if you're using she, then what you're saying is he likes me more than she likes me. Again, it's the nominative case, so the she parallels the he. And so what's being left out is the words likes me, the verb and the direct object. So it does make a difference. Sometimes you can tell from the context, but you know, you want to make sure if you're writing an elliptical adverb clause that uses a pronoun, you have the correct case of the pronoun. And also sometimes you don't want the clause to be elliptical if there could be confusion as to what you mean. For example, if you said, he likes me more than Mary, what do you mean? Do you mean he likes me more than he likes Mary? Or do you mean he likes me more than Mary likes me? Might not always be exactly clear. So that is one little warning about elliptical adverb clauses, but also just to point out that occasionally adverb clauses do drop words, particularly if they begin with than or as. Okay? Again, this type of clause, not uncommon. So be aware of this. Not only in grammar class, but in your writing, and I might add, in your speaking. And after all, why do we learn grammar in the first place? So we can write better and communicate more clearly. Right? Right. That's all, folks. Goodbye until next time.